Police officers did say when they came in there, hey, put the gun down. That's what they said. Maybe they treat you differently than they would treat somebody else. It don't matter. They said. This one's a hard one, and it's hard because I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But there's a man. His name is Kevin Penn, and he owns a liquor store. And this happened in March of 2020. And this liquor store was getting robbed at the time, and he had captured the guy and had the guy at gunpoint, and he had him on the ground. Then he called 911. Police came. So when the police came, he kept his gun, but he took the clippings out of the gun. I guess that's what you call it, the bullets out, placed them down. But he had his gun in hand. So when I watched the video, initially I watched the video a couple of years ago, I was stunned by what I watched, because when you watch it, it's quiet, there's no sound, but it looks like there's an argument. And then all of a sudden you see a police officer punch Kevin Penn in the face. He drops to the ground, he stumbles, and then they drag him on the ground, and so it's confusing, like what happened, because you hear the story. He's the owner of this liquor store. They came in and they're arresting him. So that's what I initially heard. But then as you look more into the story, he had a gun. So when the police came, he had a gun. And they asked him to put the gun down. And at that point, he's arguing with the police and saying that it is his rights to own a gun and to have a gun, which is true, right? It's his right to have a gun and own a gun. Except, what do you need a gun for? You need a gun for protection, right? If you have 3, 4, 5, 6 officers show up and they have guns too, you don't need it for protection at this point. You don't even need a gun at all. They're your protection. So you don't need a gun. So I get ego-wise, we want to say, hey, it's all right to have a gun. And as people of color, we see it all the time, right? We see people of non-color with these guns, and police approach them. Nobody's telling them to put their guns down. Nobody's offended. Nobody's nothing. But when you see a brown person with a gun, all of a sudden, police are scared. Put your gun down, this and that. Okay, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not even arguing that. It is what it is. What I am saying is the police officers did say when they came in there, hey, put the gun down. That's what they said. Maybe they treat you differently than they would treat somebody else. It don't matter. They said put the gun down. So guess what we do in those situations? You don't argue with the police. You don't need the gun. You put the gun down. But Kevin Penn was arguing. And what happened is this police officer, Justin Rippin, punched him in the face. And when he punched him in the face, he broke his jaw. He broke teeth. They took him down to the ground, and then they arrested him on these trumped up charges, right? And I'm not saying I agree with that. It is excessive force. It is excessive force, no doubt. And no doubt that police officers will look at brown people differently with weapons, and they'll have different commands, no doubt. Is it fair? Hell no, it's not fair. But it is what it is, right? We're still fighting with it and we're still making a stand. But Kevin Penn chose to make a stand right there about it's my right to have this gun and this and that. Yeah, he's right. Except the police officer asked you to put the gun down. You're a threat to a police officer when you have a gun. Yeah, they treat you differently. I said it before. But you're still a threat to a police officer with a gun. They don't want you with this gun when they're looking at this situation. They don't feel comfortable with you with this gun. So they asked you to put it down. What should we do as a citizen when the police officer asks us to put it down? Put it down. What harm is it? It's a police officer. What harm is it? There's no harm. They have the weapons. They'll protect you. You have your gun for protection. You don't need it for protection at this point. Put it down. If you're in the Wild Wild West in today's date and you go up against some criminals and some criminals tell you to put your gun down and you don't want to put your gun down because you're afraid of what might happen, hey, that's on you. I see it. That's on you. You need that gun to protect yourself. You don't trust them. But law enforcement said put the gun down. I don't agree with the punch in the face, excessive force. I admit to all that. But what I am saying, Kevin Penn should just put the gun down. He didn't deserve what he got. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, if me and you are in this situation, for our own protection, for our family's protection, if we have a weapon on us and a police officer asks us to put it down, fucking put the gun down so we can avoid all this. Just put the gun down. You can argue with them later after the fact. Hey, it was my right, whatever you want to, after you put the gun down and get everything straightened out because we reported a robbery. But you don't argue at the moment that they show up for this robbery and they don't know what is going on. They don't know who's who. They don't know you're the store owner. They don't know nothing. They know nothing. All they see is a guy with a gun. So yeah, this is what happens. I disagree with this what happens. So anyway, he's suing. It was disturbing to watch, I admit. It was disturbing to watch. So he's suing the police department, and I can't pronounce it. The Decatur Police Department, I don't know what it is, for excessive force. He's suing. I don't think anything's going to happen. The police department hasn't responded yet. They say they haven't received the suit. I don't think anything's going to happen. Yes, this is excessive force. Yes, it was wrong in a sense what happened. No doubt. And I keep repeating myself, I know, but we have a choice. As Black citizens, we have a choice. Think about it. Why do I have the gun? For protection. When the police show up, do you still need that gun for protection? No. Let's put the damn gun down. Think about it. Logically, put it down. You don't need it for protection. But now we put our egos into it. I get the ego and our pride. I get it. Because the mistreatment and the history. But we put our ego into it and say, hey, I got a right to carry this gun too. I'm going to do it. Yeah, you do. But look at your situation. Look at your situation. And look at the history of it. The officer said, put the gun down. He said, put the gun down. Swallow your pride. Put the fucking gun down. He has his reasons for asking. Agree with it or not, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if you like it? Who gives a shit if you agree with it? At the moment in time, just do it. It's not a coward's thing to do. You're not doing it because you're afraid. You're doing it because you're smart. Just do it. And then afterwards, you have a discussion with them. Once they figure things out and what's up, that you're the owner, this guy robbed you, you had him on the ground. Once they figure some things out, you can have a discussion. You know, it's my right, this and that. And you guys can have this discussion. And you can agree on or disagree. I don't know. But when a police officer walks in there, they got to make a split decision about shit. And they don't need a gun. Somebody holding on to a gun just because they claim they got the right. They don't feel comfortable with that. So they hit this guy, and it was wrong. But my point is, we got to think these things through as people of color when we make these decisions when we're dealing with police. It don't matter if they're wrong. They are wrong. It don't matter if they treat us differently than other people, because they do. What matters is what can you do in that moment to make sure you don't get your fucking head beat in, to make sure you don't get shot. What can you do in that moment? What can you do? Put the fucking gun down. That's what you can do. I don't think anything's going to come out of this. That's all I got to say.